This series is written chronologically. If you are new to the series, you must start at Season 1, Episode 1. Thank you. The Blood-Drawn Chronicles, Season 6, Symphony of the Osprey, was written by Michael Bradley and produced by Digifox Studios. This season was brought to you in part thanks to the generous contributions of our Patreon, William Wibbins. Thank you, William, for your generous donation. If you'd like to contribute towards our next season, titled Season 7, Whiffs of Hollow Whispers, please visit www.patreon.com/TBDC and take advantage of the awesome perks we have available. We want to take this time to thank Lord Saunders from www.lordsaunders.com for the wonderful audio mastering of the episode you're about to enjoy. As always, thank you for listening, and now our story begins. September 2nd, 1690. Woodrow and I spent the rest of the night in friendly conversation. Viente Isla was the primary topic of our discussions. He told me what little he knew of the island, and how he became aware of its existence in the first place. According to him, only the 7 vampire kings are permitted access to this island, and only the 7 kings ever know of its location. However, whenever one of the 7 is to travel to this island, they never return empty-handed, which is where my companion now comes into play. More often than not, the vampire kings returned from said island with wondrous blueprints of technological advances man has yet to dream of. Technologies that, at the time, could only be brought to life by one man, Arthur, and his midget son, Woodrow. Arthur would prove to serve the vampire world well until his death at the hands of the sweating sickness. Fearing that Woodrow would also come close to perish, and met with the realization that no other inventor would come close to possessing Woodrow's talents and natural gifts, they turned him into the creature he is today. Viente Isla has granted Woodrow so much knowledge over the years, and over the years, he has learned to create and counter-create whatever new devious inventions the kings commission. Regretfully, though, due to his blood-borne status as well as low birth, he has never been privy to set foot on the island himself. His excitement at the idea of venturing to this over-dreamt island begins to exceed him as he begins to murmur expeditiously about yet another island. One that in his rapid speech managed to catch my ear. Viente Isla, the home of the Gallo family. After allowing him to finish his sentence, I ask him to further explain to the history of this island, to which he replies,
Viente Isla. Well, where do I begin?
The beginning would be much appreciated.
All right, then. Viente Isla, which is famously named by the Spanish vampire lord Santiago de Martinos. Coincidentally, he was also the person who named Viente Isla. Viente Isla means 15 island, and before you go thinking that he simply names islands by numbers, let me explain. Viente Isla got its name because according to De Martinos, the island looks like 2 X's coming together.
2 X's, you say?
Yes, anyhow, that's Viente Isla. Viente Isla is named 15 Island because of the 15 very large statues that encircle the island.
15 large statues? Of what?
Oh, trust me when I say they are humongous. As far as what they are, well, you've got Christ, the 12 apostles, the Virgin Mary, and the angel Michael. Or Gabriel. Or was it Michael? No. It was definitely Gabriel. I think. Who was it who told Mary she was going to be pregnant again? Oh, look who I'm asking. Anyways, it was one of those 2. Come to think of it now, I'm sort of disappointed I don't know. I was never much into reading the Bible when I was young. I figured I'd have time for that in my elderly years. Didn't think the whole vampire thing would happen. Of course, now that I'm a vampire, I can't even touch the damn book without burning. Funny, isn't it? The Bible was made for the damned, and there's no greater damned soul than a vampire. So you'd think they'd encourage vampires to read the bloody thing, but nope.
Woodrow.
Right. It was definitely Gabriel, I think. You know what? I'll definitely remember to ask the next time I visit there.
So, you have been there before?
Yes, and no. I mostly stay on the ship when I visit. If you think a little burn from holding a Bible is bad, try walking into an island entirely littered with holy knickknacks and structures. The ship is the safest place for me, and so I've never really stepped foot on the land. Ah, I see that face. I know why you're all interested in Quince Isla. You can forget it.
Raphael Gallo.
Is long gone, and we should leave it as such.
It's not that easy.
Yes it is.
No, it's not.
Yes it is.
What are you hiding?
Nothing.
Why are you lying?
I never lie, remember? I only ever tell the truth from my perspective.
What are you trying to hide from me? Please.
Oh, all right. If I'm going to tell you, then I might as well tell you the entire truth. But you have to promise to not get angry. That's the deal, I'm afraid.
Very well. You have my word.
Good. To tell the truth, I have been looking for the right way to tell you this. Well, guess there never really was going to be a perfect time, so here we go. Days after you attempted to murder Tyrus Godfrey, Campeggio came to me with an offer.
What was it? What did he offer?
I'm getting to that, thank you. Campeggio had heard of what you'd done, and had under good authority that you'd be making your way to Paris. He enlisted the aid of Raphael Gallo, who was already in Paris finishing a contract. At first, I thought it odd that a Gallo would accept a contract from a vampire, but after Campeggio confided in me how much he was paying him, well, let's just say I wanted to kill you for that price.
I see.
With the knowledge of your agenda given to him by Campeggio, Raphael had a perfect plan in mind to lure you in order to study you.
Madame de Leon.
Works for the gallows, not for me.
That's how they were able to find vampires so easily. They must have dozens of Madame de Leons scattered across the continents. So then, what angle did you play?
Sadly, besides giving up one of my storage facilities, as well as a few good workmen, I was also to play the fall guy.
Which is why Madame de Leon sent me to you.
Precisely. If you had killed me, Raphael and you would have met a lot sooner. I myself didn't know what to expect. Well, somewhat didn't know what to expect.
So, you've met Theophilus?
Oh, heavens, no. Only by reputation. There is lots the vampire community has to say when a creature from another world enters ours and begins declaring himself our king, flaunting his power. That's the first thing I noticed different about you, yes. All the others only witnessed you walking in broad daylight and entering holy places. I had a different view and formed a very different opinion of you. You see, I didn't see just what they saw. I also saw a very different man. I saw a man who stopped to smell the roses. A man who filled the cups of beggars with gold. I got to see what other vampires could not. I got to see you in the daylight. And so I got to see the man who, during his mindless routine stroll around Paris, came across a 6-year-old boy, as he had every day, who stared out a shop window at a wooden sword. And I saw said man one day enter that shop, purchase that sword, exit the shop, and what was it you told that boy as you handed him the sword?
Every good sword has a name.
So you see, son of Maya, I just couldn't let them hurt you. You're not as evil or ruthless as you let on, Myrick. And if I've had to lie to you for personal gain here and there, I'm sorry.
There never was a machine that could locate Theophilus, was there?
No. But there was a frightened young girl who was beginning to prefer death instead of the life she was living.
You knew I would free her. You knew Alacaster never would.
Yes, and I could only guess the consequences. I'm an inventor, not a mastermind. Alacaster is dead. Raphael is dead. It's time to move on.
Though I agree, there may be some complications to that.
How so?
Before meeting his end, Raphael read me a letter written by Campeggio. In it, Campeggio admits to knowing Theophilus very well.
Well, I confess, I didn't see that coming.
There's more. Raphael mentioned that he studied me thoroughly, and that he would ensure others would know what he discovered himself. He used the word others strangely.
Oh, no.
What is it?
It all makes sense now.
What does?
You fought him in Winterberry.
And?
When you fought him, were the streets deserted?
Yes, and garlic filled the air.
Damn.
What are you saying?
The garlic candles came from Isla.
They came from Lamberg.
Which came from Isla.
Which means?
Isla already knows of you and how to kill you.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure. I supply the candles they buy in bulk. That many candles supplied to multiple cities means a manhunt was sanctioned, which means that Raphael's absence has already been noted. Oh, God, the sangre vista.
What is that? What does it mean?
It means Gianni and his entire cult is coming after you. Is right. We'll have to leave for Viente Isla as soon as possible.
But I can't just...
You'll have to figure it out. In the meantime, I'll have to go find us a proper carriage and ship. The sun's coming up. We'll talk more about this tonight before I take my leave.
So be it. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please feel free to like, share, comment, and, most importantly, subscribe. Don't feel like waiting until next week for the next Blood Drawn episodes to release? No problem. You can get access to all the episodes of this season now for just a $5 pledge on Patreon.